Have you ever felt the wind pause, like it's listening to you? Like you're the only thing that's around it? Have you ever seen the raven stare at you as if you are its aim and focus and just you? In Seidr, the world whispers around us and gives us the intention to understand the messages that we can perceive. Seidr is an old Norse practice, but even today it is practiced through trance, prophecy, fate, and contact with spirit and other deities, and practiced by the vulva, by the priestess, the seeress. But it's not just about rituals and chants and contact. It's about relationship, and the relationship with the earth and all the things in the earth. When we seek messages, they can come to us in many ways. Some are so subtle that you would dismiss them in a heartbeat. But to the Seidr, we notice and we know. And so this video is about how to recognize the signs around us when we are seeking confirmation and answers to our questions and the things that we've petitioned them about. So if you're interested, guys, in this subject, please carry on watching. This is how we understand that our messages have been heard. Sometimes they're so subtle that it would be dismissed, as I have already said. The flicker of a candle flame crackling, the quietness when once it was windy, but all of a sudden goes to a standstill. A bird staring at you with an understanding, a look, a knowledge. Is that from Odin, the message? You know, we seek answers to our questions and our quests, but sometimes the answers are blatantly there, but we just don't perceive it. I want to bring to your attention ways in which you will be able to establish an idea of when you're getting answers and when perhaps you're not. So let's get into it. I have many stories, that, to be honest, have some of them been quite hair-raising, because people haven't noticed, but I've noticed. Things like time standing still, which is weird, to say the least. To see a candle burn upwards so high that it seems like a near-on impossibility, yet it happens. The shape of wax that fell off of a candle onto my hand and left the shape of a rune. Can you believe? Each sign is coming from that area which we can only visit for short periods of time, and as such, all the most relevant things that we haven't thought of will come flooding in. When you are a Seidr practitioner, guys, you are mediumistic, a healer, you're shamanic, you're open to so many energies. And so, of course, we have to be careful that we don't see a message in everything. But normally the messages are so blatant, even though they are very small, that you just know. Vivid imagery and things that we perceive in sight. Visually dreamlike situations that we are seeing. People would call it like daydreams, but we are so focused on it. Runes appearing in your vision as well. Runes are doorways, guys, to other realms and are very powerful portals. Natural things like flowers and animals, and even somebody unloading a vehicle full of food. Something silly like that, but seems a little bit obvious, a little bit out of what you don't expect to see. And these things come at times when we are waiting for an answer, and all of a sudden maybe a bread lorry comes by and it's got a message on the side, or there's a number, a bus goes past 3 times with the same number. We have to be aware of our surroundings, but cloud formations and all sorts of things, we can, you know, understand that they're answers, but we need to perceive them. Again, also lands may look changed from what you remember, and yet when you go back again, they'll be back to how you remember them. Or even a sound, a song that comes through and you know the lyrics, and the lyrics speak volumes, and they are not random. They are often direct communication from our spirit guides, from the realms of spirit, or from deity themselves, and so must be taken, if you know it's happening, with much reverence. Auditory, and by that I mean what you hear, how you perceive what you hear. Okay, now this one is something that I get a lot, and that is when you're in trance or deep meditation, you might hear voices, whispers, a song, sometimes clicks and little vibrations in different tones. Now, I have a great friend of mine who uses those dots and dashes and puts it into Morse code, and that then gives her the message, you know. And it's not like she understood Morse code, so she's had to do a lot of study on that to understand what she's getting. But you know, things come to us in ways we wouldn't perceive. And so, like when I'm in trance, I'll hear whispers or very quiet word, but sometimes it just downloads into my mind and I can hear it in my mind like a different voice. And so auditory signs and answers to our questions can come at many times. So it might not be straight away, it might be later on, but sometimes it's straight away. And what you have to remember, guys, this is coming from beyond. It's not coming from you, it's coming from another source. So again, give reverence for that. Physical sensations. And so what do I mean by that? Well, actual touch, feeling cold, shivering, being very hot, knowing something's breezing around you, like your hair is moving. And with me, I get like a little feel on my head, like someone's going like this on my face or my head at the back, or even on my shoulder. And I know spirit is then present with me, and it is just their way of saying, hey, I'm here, let's chat. And that is good when you get that. To start with, it feels like a cobweb touching your face, but after a while you'll get to know that feeling. Sometimes it will feel cold when it touches, or sometimes it will feel quite warm, but sometimes you get the shudder down your spine, which can be a bit scary to some people. Another time you might get this intense feeling of like a drawing pain in your third eye, and that will be because you haven't opened up properly. But also that can also mean that you are in the process of still sending your message, because we are so intent when we are working towards meeting them that sometimes it takes a bit of a delay to send the message. So, you know, wait up, guys. The next one is very important, and that would be an emotional clarity. For some, it comes as a bit of a surprise, but for me, it can be very emotional. I have seen spirit that have come through and I want to bawl my eyes out crying. The heartache of separation from their loved ones, for example, or the pure joy of meeting up with loved ones. And with when you get deity, the sheer power can overwhelm you of their actual aura of power. But when it's your spirit guides, it's normally a calm feeling, a feeling of love and support, which is a lovely sensation. So a lot of you may get that, and a lot of it stems from your solar plexus, which is bright yellow and just above your belly button area. in the chakra system. So, you know, again, with the chakras, we need all of them open, guys. You need to be opening that up and protecting yourself before you do anything, so that you know at which one you're feeling. Like if it's heartache, you'll feel it in your heart. If it's joy, you'll feel it in your heart. If it's your throat and you can't speak, there's a problem with communication for that client or yourself. Each chakra will denote what emotion. And so you have, you know, mediums that go by the emotion on things. You'll have others that go by auditory, others that go by thoughts, and others that actually see it all. So very exciting stuff. After all of these messages and the way you perceive them come through, there will be this sort of closure time. That will be confirmation, but it'll come after your practice, after the Seidr practice, that time. And it will come in dreams, reoccurring signs to sort of clarify what you saw originally. So say you saw a deer and then you saw 2 deers. Well, you'll get the same thing again, and it's just sort of saying, it's right, I did give it to you. You are picking it up. And it's just their way of reaffirming that they heard you and that they are on it. So when you get used to doing it, guys, these signs and symptoms will flow, and you'll think nothing of it. It will just become part of your practice. As a Seidr practitioner, we're all about within, and that within can sometimes be quite emotional, quite scary at times, because you don't know where these noises are coming from. For example, you're sitting in a dark room with a candle alight, the candle starts crackling, and all of a sudden you hear somebody whisper in your ear. There's no one in the room but you. You have to be brave and get over any fears that you might have. Not every time you get something happen is it actually a message. And of course you have to use discernment and your intuition. And as a Seidr practitioner, we work from within, and we know intuitively what's real and what isn't. And it's important to stay grounded, guys. Protection and grounding is very important. But also, it's in the quiet times that we hear the most. And people don't like the quiet times. They'll sit there and they'll be void of any noise, and it can be scary, because when do we actually have any quietness? Normally in the middle of the night, and that is a time when a lot of people like us are woken up at the witching hour, and that's the time I do a lot of my work, is that I'll wake up as bright as a bunny, and I know it's time to do some work, and I'll spend a couple of hours, and then it's like they say, okay, you can go to bed now, and they switch off and you switch off and you can sleep. But if you don't get up and do those things, you'll find it will just be on your mind all night long. So now I just get up and do what I've got to do and then go to bed. And a lot of witches do the same thing. So it's about listening to the unseen. If you're going to be walking these sort of paths, then you have to get used to working with the unseen. It is just part and parcel of Seidr. So have you received signs and visions and things, but have not been able to explain, that don't want to tell others because they think people might say they've gone round the bend? Leave it down below. I would love to know what sort of signs and things that you have received, because we're all different and we all get things in different ways. So don't forget, guys, if you like these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe, and then you'll get anything that I'm uploading if you press that little notification button for all. And then you will get the next video that's coming out. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you to all that have been so supportive. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. So wherever you are, whatever time of day, night or evening it may be, I wish you the best ever. House of Elaine.